summer and seemingly going nowhere. Did anybody actually believe that we would be sitting here in late October talking about a World Series going against the Houston Astros? I'm Jeff Hullinger along with Caitlin Ross. We are glad to have you aboard tonight. It is an amazing night, a great night to be in Atlanta Metro.
It really is, and it was so fun, Jeff. We were sitting here right when it was announced that the Braves won. You hopped right up out of your seat and said, I gotta go see this, because this is something that you do want to see in person. You want to see the reaction to this team, the excitement of them hearing they are going to the World Series. There is so much love surrounding them right now. We had Joe Ripley out there at Truist Park, and he was talking to people who traveled from all over the United States to come see this. Of course, he had people from Atlanta, Alabama. He talked to one guy from Alaska. He flew his two sons here because it was that important for him to take part in this. He said he wanted to see him clinch it tonight. He wanted this to go down in Game 6, and he sure got his wish.
Eddie Rosario is the man, and when you talk about this series, you're going to always talk about Eddie Rosario. I'm hard-pressed to think over the last, I don't know, maybe the last 50 years in Major League Baseball where a player who is a good player, but not a great player, a career .275 hitter, was acquired really for nothing in July 30th from the Minnesota Twins. And he's a fine player, don't get me wrong, but during this series, he has looked like a cross between Derek Jeter and Joe DiMaggio and Hank Aaron and David Justice, for goodness sakes. I mean, it's extraordinary. And that's one of the things that you love so much about the postseason of Major League Baseball. Unexpected heroes do unexpected things. They leap tall buildings at a single bound. And Eddie Rosario has done that. Eddie Rosario will not be in the Hall of Fame, but for the rest of his life, he will have the same kind of affection here in Atlanta Metro and among Braves fans as Sid Bream does, or Mark Lemke, or David Justice, or Tom Glavine, or any of these great heroes, Marquise Grissom, any of these great heroes of the past that delivered in times of great need. And this is the guy. This is his moment, and he has done it.
And boy, did he deliver. Look at the look on his face there right after he hit that home run. He was so excited. It was so fun watching him just go back. I mean, look at the look on his face as he realizes what he's just done. Celebrating with his teammates, he runs those bases. When he went back over there to the dugout, the celebration that was going on there was absolutely incredible, because I think you nailed it there, Jeff. It's like he knew that this was his moment. He understood that this was going to be something that he would be remembered by. And it's impossible not to smile when you watch that celebration there. The Braves tweeted that out. They're so proud of him. And look at his teammates. So proud of what he just did there. And like you said, Jeff, this was the moment of great need. This is what this team needed.
You know, when I see Eddie Rosario, I kept thinking tonight of Herb Brooks's speech to the 1980 U.S. hockey team, where he came in and he made this great speech about, this is your time. And it's one of the great speeches. You'll have the opportunity, if you want to see Kurt Russell do it on YouTube, but it really defines Eddie Rosario tonight about, yeah, you know, there may be other times when you're not so great, or you may not be the greatest player in Major League Baseball, but for this night, for this moment, this was your time, and it was his, and now it is Atlanta's time in Atlanta Metro, and it is going to be great. I mean, I was thinking about the World Series tonight and what it means taking on the Houston Astros. Dusty Baker, of course, is the manager in his 70s, who has done such an extraordinary job. He was drafted by the Atlanta Braves when he first came up.
Oh, that is a great piece of trivia I didn't know.
He was in the on-deck circle when Hank Aaron hit .715, and he was such a great Atlanta Braves player and dedicated member of the roster who did so much around the city and around the area for charities. And in fact, Bob Hope, who used not the Bob Hope of fame, but Bob Hope of some fame and some renown here in Atlanta, who worked for the Braves for many years, who has been the founder of Hope Beckham, on his Facebook page, tells some great stories about Dusty Baker and what Baker did when he was a member of the Atlanta Braves, of just being a good guy and a great teammate and somebody that everyone loves. So here we go. We have all these storylines that are coming up between the Braves and the Houston Astros, which is going to be a really fun World Series. There's just so much to talk about, so much to think about. And I'm going a long way here because the last time the Braves were in the World Series, they got swept by the New York Yankees in 1999. I remember being in New York City. Andruw Jones, at the age of 19, hit a home run, as we recall, and really was being compared to Mickey Mantle during that series. But that was a series where they got swept, and there aren't a lot of memories about it. I mean, we never talk about the 1999 World Series with the Braves because it was not a great time. It was not a great moment. Instead, we think about the World Series of 1995 when they beat the Cleveland Indians and did so here in Atlanta at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. But this has that sort of energy about it. I don't know if you agree with that or not. Even people that don't follow baseball, you know, the Braves have been out of the World Series and out of the World Championship mix for so many years now that I think there is a sense of great appreciation that they have pulled it off this time.
Absolutely. I think there is so much energy around it. And when you talk about that lull, that kind of like, oh, you know, we said earlier, we're partying like it's 1999, but really it's more like 95, because that's the one that we talk about. That's the one that people get excited about. I actually interviewed a woman for a story not too long ago, and as soon as she completed her chemotherapy journey, the first thing she wanted to do was go to a Braves game.
Oh, great.
Because
I remember your story. It was a great story.
She was such a huge fan because of her dad. And her dad loved the Braves, loved everything about them, watched every single game, and then he passed away in 1994. And the next year they won the World Series. And it was so meaningful to her, and she had so many memories of that and spoke so highly of that experience and that team. And she loved that team so much. And I'm curious to know if you think this team has that kind of it factor. Are people going to love this team and follow them?
You know, the Braves are second in Major League Baseball in attendance, and the city has changed. The metropolitan area has changed over the last 20 plus years. But there is great passion for the Braves. It remains. I mean, when you think about, I've always thought that the Braves, along with Georgia football, you know, they were the top two draws in this area. And certainly you've got both of them going full bore here in 2021, the Braves and the Georgia Bulldogs, who are ranked #1. I always feel that when the Braves are going great or Georgia football is going great, it dwarfs everything else.
Yes.
It just does. It's a bigger deal. It's more of a cultural kind of happening. You know, the South has always been defined in many ways by baseball. And you look at the rosters from the 20th century, and most of the rosters of the great teams, whether it's the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Cardinals, or you can go on and on, the greatest number of athletes are all from the South. So, you know, this has always been a part of the world that has an affinity toward baseball, and we always see that manifested when the Braves are going good, and quite frankly, they've been going really good for the most part over the last 31 years.
Yeah, they're doing amazing right now, and we do have some video of the celebration that they had in 1999. That's the last time they went to the World Series. And I think this is so cool because this is the scene that we just saw play out on the field. We saw so much excitement, we saw so much energy, and to get that news that you're going to the World Series, it's hard to top that. And watching these guys celebrate here, it just it makes you smile. It's so exciting, and there's so much excitement going into this World Series. I think that there are so many people now that are going to cheer for this team, and you can call them fair weather fans or what, but this is going to bring the city together, and I think it's going to create a lot of excitement here in Atlanta.
Well, I hope you're right about that, and I think that's one of the interesting things to watch about all of this as we see Glenn Hubbard, who was part of the coaching staff then, and Chipper Jones, the Hall of Famer, and so many of these familiar faces, and Bobby Cox as well in the middle of all of that. And if you're wondering about Bobby Cox and the relationship with Brian Snitker, the New York Times had an incredible story that was in its edition yesterday, talking about Bobby's health post the stroke, which has been very, very difficult, and Brian Snitker's great commitment and love of Cox. It is, if you get the opportunity to read it and you're interested in these Braves, you obviously are, you wouldn't be watching us right now, but it is worth your time to invest to try and read that. It will really give you a great sense of the Braves organization, of how it's evolved over the last 30 years, beginning with Bobby Cox and where it is today under the tutelage of Brian Snitker. So it is, you know, it is one of those moments you think about because of what Bobby Cox has meant, and Bobby Cox at 80 is is struggling in the aftermath of a massive stroke.
Which is so sad. I'm sure seeing this is going to be incredibly encouraging for him. And what do you think of this year's team? As you're watching them, what do you take away from this, and what do you think this journey is going to look like?
I always think that championship teams oftentimes are not the best team necessarily.
Interesting take.
In fact, in 1995, when the Braves won, I never believed that that's one of their better teams.
Wow.
It's a very good team,
Okay.
but not as good as the 1996 Braves, which were a better team, I think, and some teams in the late 90s that were better than that team. Oftentimes, this great sort of harmonic convergence of chemistry and opportunity, it all comes together, and it's not always happening with the best team. I mean, I'm going to take it one more step here locally. The Atlanta Falcons of 1998 certainly were, not the best team of that time, or certainly one of the best teams in the NFL in the 1990s, but they were this incredible convergence where guys had years that were just unexpected, and they all came together at the same time. Mm-hmm. I see this Braves team in that same context, that, are they the best team in Major League Baseball? Probably not, but will they win a World Series? I think they have every chance to do so, because they have something going on right now where all of these great players, Eddie Rosario, is the bullpen has been maligned, but certainly did a tremendous job through the series with the Dodgers. So there are those teams that seem to find the ability to win and to be at their best in times of great need and great stress. This Braves team, that we all wrote off for the most part in April and May and June and July, only to come firing back after the deals were made in late July.
Well, let me ask you, what were you thinking in April when you were watching the Braves? Were you thinking, okay, we're going to count this team out? Or did you still have hope springs eternal?
I think Snitker is such a fine manager, and they clearly had enough talent to fare better than they were at that time. But when Ronald Acuna goes down with the injury, the assumption was, well, that's the end of this season. And, once he comes back next year, they'll make another run. I don't think anybody could have possibly imagined that the deals made by the front office would materialize in a way. Jock Peterson and his string of pearls.
I know, that was going to be my next question to ask you about that.
There's so many marvelous stories about this Braves team that is really special. I mean, it's up there with the '91 team in terms of unexpected and sort of, we didn't see it coming, when I think we all believed that this was a team that was probably, sinking pretty quick.
How hard do you think this is for Acuna to watch?
It's got to be very difficult for him.
I think that
it's
too.
Be very hard. Very hard.
He's just so well known, and everybody cheers for him.
One of the greatest players in Major League Baseball too.
Yeah,
but this team is amazing. I mean, it just is amazing, and that's what makes this ride so joyful. The one thing to be aware of now, the Houston Astros are a really, really good team.
Yikes.
I mean, they were really, really good.
What do you think we need to watch for now as we head into the World Series? It's so exciting to even say that, as we head into the World Series.
I think we should just watch the fireworks tonight. Enjoy it tonight. Think about Houston in the days ahead.
Well, it comes up on us pretty quickly, though.
It does. It does. So it will go 2-3-2. The first 2 games will be in Houston, and then 3 games in Cobb County, and then back to Houston if need be. So
where do you read that advantage?
It's 2-3-2. I don't. It doesn't, I don't see any advantage there. It is what it is.
Okay, so they're just going to have to roll with what they have, right?
Probably, but what do I know? Maybe some of you have a different opinion than I about this subject, so we'll see.
I know. I'm going to be so curious to see the fan base that's going to follow them now through these games. It's certainly not cheap, but it is going to be a very sought-after ticket. We were talking earlier about some of the tickets right behind home plate were going for like $7,000 and $8,000 before this game.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, but look, there are people who view baseball in the context of their lives. I mean, they remember where, I always hear on Facebook from fans that say, when I think about Marquise Grissom and I think about 1991 or Lonnie Smith or Charlie Lee Brandt or any of these players, I always think about my late father. There's always the connection of family with baseball and championship seasons, and the Braves have always meant that in this region. That is the last out. that is the strikeout of Betts right there.
Which
And,
they knew they had it there. If you look at the reaction, I mean, that was huge. The reaction from the crowd is huge. Look at him jumping up and down.
Well, we also are going to have reporters at Truist. Certainly tonight we have them right now. Joe Ripley is there as well. Maria Martin, who has been covering the team in Los Angeles, she will continue to cover on the road in Houston. So we have you covered here at 11 Alive. We have a lot of fun stories that are going to be coming your way.
Yeah, Maria's Twitter feed has been phenomenal. If you're on Twitter, give Maria Martin a follow because she has the context of everything that's going on inside these stadiums. And what I thought was really interesting, she put up today, this Braves crowd here is a lot more energetic than the crowd she saw in LA. She thought they really were invested in this game. They really knew that they were going to win it tonight. And she was positive from the beginning. When I was asking her, oh, what do you think? Do you think this is going to happen? She said, look, positive vibes. We're going into this thinking that we're going to win it tonight. She didn't want to see him go to Game 7. She wanted to win it tonight.
Well, there is great disappointment that maybe they didn't wrap it up out in Los Angeles, but it's much better to do it in your own ballpark.
Exactly.
You know? That way it creates memories and an energy in your ballpark that Truist hasn't had that. I mean, it's a new ballpark, and now there's a special memory of winning the National League Championship Series. And Eddie Rosario is officially the MVP of the NLCS.
Oh, he deserves that.
As if there could be any doubt about that tonight.
Right, he absolutely deserves that. And when you're talking about the energy there at Truist, I think you bring up such a great point that this is going to be a memory for that park that it doesn't have yet. This is going to be the place where, when you talk about those family ties, that people can say, when I was 8, I was there with my dad,
Yep.
or I flew from Alaska with my dad to see these games. And what a great memory that that's going to make. I know there was disappointment that they couldn't wrap it up in LA, but to be able to do it in Atlanta is going to be so meaningful for so many people.
And the Braves are a regional draw too. The Falcons are not a regional draw. The Hawks are not a regional draw. But the Braves are a regional draw for. I mean, you could go to any of the 3 stadiums: Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, Turner Field, or Truist, and you could go there and run into people from Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi. It is a regional draw. It's always been that way. They have the largest radio network in all of Major League Baseball, and of course. The history of the superstation, WTBS, when Skip Carey and Ernie Johnson and Pete Van Wieren were doing those games for years and years and years. Those were the games that a lot of America saw, and most certainly in the Southeast, where people just went crazy. You view those Southern touchstones maybe as Andy Griffith, which was always on TBS.
Back to TBS.
And the Braves. I mean, even when the Braves were bad, the Braves were a constant companion for those people who were up at night or had nothing to do, and they became America's team. And that was always the moniker. But, the Braves have had that regional punch that has always made them special, where families drive to Atlanta, they drive to Atlanta Metro now and attend games. And certainly that's always been one of the selling points when they moved to Cobb County, that they would have a lot of hotels around, a lot of restaurants, a lot of places that families could hang out. We can get into the politics of Turner Field and Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, of which they are many, and depending on what your take is on all of this. But that did not happen there, unfortunately, and it became more problematic for, you were always hearing from people from, other parts, other states here in the South about issues of hotels and all of that. Whether that is fair or not, certainly it is something that we've always heard.
Well, you bring up the hotels and people traveling from out of town. Joe Ripley, a reporter who's out there at Truist Park, he did a whole story on all of the different places where people came from to support the team. And one of them was Alabama.
Yeah.
And the guy made the point that this is America's team. That's what he said. And he said it's time to shake off last year, which I don't think we've talked too much about yet. They did want to kill that narrative, so maybe we've killed the narrative of what happened
I think we don't
year.
even bring it up because it doesn't matter tonight. Now,
You just let it fly. Let it fly.
now we have that very high shot there from the Hubble telescope, which you can see from the International Space Station.
It does look like a Hubble telescope.
So anyway, that's what we have. Do we have anything else that we want to offer tonight? All right, we are waiting for Maria. She is on the field, so we'll hang out here a couple more minutes and see if that materializes or if we remain here 75 miles above the earth.
I mean, even at such a great height, it still is extremely exciting. I know people are in those stands still, they're celebrating. Are you allowed to rush the field still? Is that still a thing that people do?
Yeah, if you prefer not to get tackled by security, I mean, it's something you have to not. You don't want to do that.
Okay, so stay off the field.
This is not 1969 in Shea Stadium. You don't want to do that.
Rush the battery, right? I'm sure that place is going to be hopping tonight.
You don't want to get arrested. You don't want to be part of that. But we are sitting here and we are waiting now for some of the interviews, some of the reaction on the field as we continue our litany, our speech tonight about what this means to all of us, and we look forward to covering the World Series for you, and it is going to be a great opportunity.
Yeah, we can't watch this hit enough. It is so exciting. Just look at the joy there. Everybody's celebrating him, and I love the way he runs the bases. So much joy. This is definitely a career-defining moment for him, and something that we are going to keep coming back to because it's incredible, and I think it's going to be meaningful for momentum as they go into this World Series to have such a fantastic play. Hopefully that'll spur them on to even better stuff in the World Series.
Well, we hope so, and we will certainly find out. The celebration is ongoing all around Atlanta Metro tonight, and I think everybody is really pumped up for, a World Series. And maybe I've lived here too long, and maybe I've covered sports too long, but I always worry about these World Series that, there's so much energy and so much enthusiasm when you get into them, but when you lose them, it's sort of like, it's a thud.
Yeah, it does, super thud.
We know a lot about that. 1991, 30 years ago, was an interesting year and an interesting postseason for the Braves because they took on the Minnesota Twins, who were also a Cinderella team. And each team won at home, and the teams did not win on the road. So, it came down to John Smoltz and Jack Morris in that fabled seventh game that went all the way, all night, and eventually the Twins win. And what was amazing was there was a parade here that more than 1 million people showed up.
1 million people?
The MARTA train shut down. They stopped working. You can see them on YouTube. You can see our coverage on YouTube. Not ours, but you can see me on the YouTube when I was working for someone else.
Is that the one where you were in the bucket of the fire
No,
truck?
I was in the bucket in the parade in 1995 in the Atlanta Fire Department bucket live. But this was different in the middle of the crowd, and everybody. All the players were in convertibles, and it was a great parade. But you want the Braves to win the World Championship. You no longer want them just to be in it. I mean, we have seen the Falcons in these Super Bowls. The one was a disaster in Houston,
yeah,
and then
so
the Falcons Super Bowl against Denver and Miami was a disaster after an arrest early morning. So we want to see these teams win championships. We don't want to just see them appear in a Super Bowl or appear in a World Series, but we certainly want to see them win.
Yeah, and what do you think if we take the World Series, what does a parade in Atlanta look like?
Hard to tell. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're getting the horse before the coverage.
That's true.
The horse before the carriage.
I got to slow myself down here. I'm just excited about it. It's exciting to be here and watch it. So we are going to have Maria Martin interviewing Austin Riley.
Okay.
So that will be a really exciting interview, and it's going to be really cool to see inside the stadium, see the excitement, and we're going to hear from him in just a minute.
We hope so. And Maria will have a lot of interviews for us as well as we continue to wait and have as much as we possibly can from Truist park.
Do you know, I've been talking to Maria since about 9 o'clock this morning, and she is like still going a million miles an hour. I can imagine the excitement of all of this is just keeping people fueled up.
Yes, indeed. I mean, that's the great thing. You know, the tortured history of sports in Atlanta and Georgia has been such that you know, any thought of a championship here, you know, really stirs the hearts and minds and souls of everybody. Georgia came very close against Alabama a couple of years ago. Maybe this will be the year they win the national championship, but UGA hasn't won one in 40 years.
Oh gosh.
You know, Georgia Tech won a football championship, a co-championship 30 years ago in the season of 1990, and then the vote was in 1991. You've got the Falcons, you know, that should have won a Super Bowl that didn't. Maybe they should have won 2 of them, but didn't. And you have the Braves with that great, you know, once in a generation, maybe once in a century starting rotation of pitching and unlimited resources financially, and Ted Turner and all of that. And for all of those division titles that they were able to snare, they only have 1 world championship. And that is a great curiosity, not only to those of us here in Atlanta, but certainly around the country. When you look at the history of the Atlanta Braves and just how deep, how rich, how remarkably gifted they were in that period, and only to have 1 world title at a time when, you know, many of the teams in Major League Baseball were nowhere near as good as they.
Right.
It is a great disappointment. So we're not talking disappointments now. We are talking forward. We're talking about Houston and the Astros, and we get ready for that World Series, which is right around the corner, which will be happening this week.
And I don't know much about the Astros team. I have seen some excitement over the Astros on the internet, but I have not really done much reading on the Astros team. What can you tell us about them?
They have a great player in Altuve, of course, and you know what is going to be part of this discussion about and part of this World Series. The Houston Astros had that cheating scandal that was going on with the trash cans and the wires and all of that, and that will certainly make them a team that a lot of people around the country will not be cheering for because of that hanging over their head. Not this team, but the one not that far removed from this team. So there is that sort of view of all of this, and you know, the Braves will be a pick of many around the country because of that.
Right.
But there's been a lot of cheating in baseball going back
there
140 years.
There has been a lot of cheating in baseball.
To say that that era of the Houston Astros were unique would be not paying attention to the history of Major League Baseball and minor league baseball. Cheating is just as apple pie as Chevrolet and and elections.
It's hard to understand how anyone can even get away with cheating anymore because there's so many camera angles everywhere. It's like we gotta be able to catch it. Okay, so exciting. We have Maria Martin right now live with Derek Schiller from the Braves.
Not just for the city, but really the entire region. You know, we represent a really big piece of the southeast of the country, and you know, I think it's bringing everybody together. You're seeing them in this environment, coming here, having fun, being with their neighbors, their friends, people they've never met, and just enjoying coming together and cheering on the Braves. And you know, it's beyond words. It's what sports does, and specifically somebody's favorite sports team. In this case, obviously, the Braves. I'm glad we could do it for them.
To get past the Dodgers, does it make this even better?
Oh, you know, in so many ways. I mean, we wanted to win it in L.A. I'm not going to lie to you. Sure. We were thinking about, like, geez, wouldn't it be great to do it in their turf? But, you know, I think it's only fitting that we did it in front of our fans, the fans that supported us all year long. So, again, I credit them and credit really this whole community for sticking with us, understanding what we got. And just the players, it's just unbelievable what's happening right now. I'm so excited for them.
I'm going to let you celebrate. Just one last question. Dusty Baker, the manager for the Astros, used to wear a Braves uniform. There's so many Hank Aaron connections in this World Series. How proud do you think Hank would be of this moment?
Yeah, very much so. You know, Billy Aaron has been coming to a number of our games, and it's been really special to have her representing the family. You know, look, Hank was obviously an icon for not just this franchise, but really the entire world, you know, and, you know, for him to be a Brave, got that 44 painted out in that outfield to remind all of us that we're doing this with him too. and hopefully he continues to help champion us and look down on us and do great things and get us to the next level here, which is a World Series championship.
Awesome, Derek. Appreciate you as always, and congratulations, and take care of that and go celebrate with some champagne.
I will. Thank you very much.
All right, Derek Schiller, who has done such a fine job. I mean, the Braves organization is absolutely top. I mean, when you talk about John Schuerholz, Terry McGurk, obviously, and Derek Schiller. Schiller is just a stand-up guy, good guy, and good family, and yeah, he's a good guy.
He is a really nice guy, and you could just tell there, he really gave credit to a lot of people who helped build the Braves organization up, and I think that's so meaningful to see that he's talking about the people who have had such an impact with this team and who have made such an impact with this team. So it was great to be able to hear from him.
All right, so that is what we have for you tonight. We are going to go back to Maria here. We'll speak with her in a couple of moments here, but we'll kind of get some of her thoughts from the field, and we'll kind of take it from there and sort of put a bow on it tonight.
Yeah, certainly inside that stadium, you can see the excitement, you can see the passion that people have, and I thought it was great that he brought up the same point that you made, that, you know, it would have been cool if they would have locked it up in LA, but man, it's so much better that they did it in front of their hometown fans and that they were able to take part in that. I think that's so meaningful, and I think that it's going to be meaningful for them as they continue on into the World Series.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see the reaction inside the clubhouse. You know, it's a little bit different, you know, when you think about the Braves' victories in the National League Championship Series. Local television has like been in the middle of all of the champagne and all of the alcohol tossing and all of the foolishness and all of that stuff that everybody enjoyed seeing, enjoyed hearing, and it's different now. I mean, we're certainly not in there to the same degree live the way that we used to be. So,
but we do have Maria live right now. So I want to go out to Maria Martin. She is on the field. And Maria, what are you seeing out there? What's going on?
Oh, well, I can tell you that there's a lot going on. First and foremost, I'm going to show you out in the video board out there in center field. You can see the champagne celebration. I have a feeling when these guys come back out here, they're going to smell like cigars, champagne, you name it. You guys, this is insane. It's such an incredible moment for the city of Atlanta. It's been 26 years since they were able to go to the World Series. Every single person that I've talked to so far, Austin Riley, who specifically told me that he feels a little bit more for the older guys like Freddie Freeman, who's played for this franchise his entire career, finally gets that moment, and now they're headed to the World Series, and I think it makes it even sweeter that it was over the Dodgers. That's something that I asked President Derek Schiller just a little bit ago, as well as AJ Mentor and Austin Riley, just a few of the guys that we talked to as they were headed into the clubhouse to celebrate. All of them said that it feels so much better, just so that they could finally get over the hump of the Dodgers. It's truly electric. There are families out here. Blooper is out here. I'm going to walk around for a second. There's one person I'm looking for. Let's see if we can find her. But the trophy, if Boysen can pan around to the camera right now, is right behind President Derek Schiller. We'll walk over there. There it is. Braves country, you have waited for this moment for so long. 1999, the last time this team went to the World Series, and now they're going to the World Series to face the Houston Astros in that game. Game 1 of the World Series will start on Tuesday, but for right now, they've repeatedly said they're soaking in the moment, literally, is what Derek Schiller said, which means he's looking forward to some champagne. We're just going to walk around and just look at these families right now. They've all been so excited, obviously, because they're punching their ticket to the World Series for first time in a very long time. I'm going to ambush her really quickly and ask her if I can talk to her really quickly. Hold on one second. We'll show you some other stuff while I'm asking her one thing real quick.
Exciting, and certainly you can see the celebration and the excitement on the families' faces, and the kids holding that trophy. That is so much fun. Imagine the chance to get to be down there on the field and hold that trophy. That is really cool. And I love, Jeff, that you were just talking about the locker room champagne celebrations, and that's exactly what they showed us on the big board there. Everybody celebrating inside the locker room. Oh, here we go. Maria's back.
I'm not sure, but we'll be rolling on this just in case. Just in case you don't know who this is. This is the lovely wife of the closer for the Braves, Will Smith. And listen, Taylor, this is Taylor, by the way, everyone. You got to be nervous every single time Will goes out there. What was it like today, though?
Very nervous. I have a routine that is very weird, and I won't display it, but...
You can't tell me what it is?
I was very nervous. I wanted to throw up all day before the game even started. but he's been showing up every game, so I'm happy.
This is unbelievable for you guys. I mean, you guys came to Atlanta just a little while ago. I mean, this was right before COVID when Will was able to be a part of the Braves organization. Now you're headed to the World Series. How cool is that? How proud are you of Will?
Very proud. There's no words. There really is no words. If I start talking them, I'll cry.
Okay, we won't talk too in depth about how proud we are, but you had Will's mom out here as well. What was the final moment, that final out? He got to, everybody's holding each other probably, that final out, what was that like?
We all jumped up and down and were hugging each other. His dad, his mom was crying. I mean, they took him to baseball his whole life, so to see this moment is a dream for them, so it's nice. It's perfect.
I'm going to let you enjoy with your family. You were perfect. Thank you so much. Taylor is amazing, and you know, she has to ride and die with Will every single pitch, and today was probably the most important. I could tell you that everybody in the press box was so antsy, moving around and just trying to figure that out. But just a little while ago, we caught up with Austin Riley as he was heading into the clubhouse to celebrate the Braves going to the World Series for the first time since 1999. Here it is. Okay, so you're headed to the World Series for the first time since 1999 with this club. What is that feeling like right now?
It's unbelievable to honestly to be, you know, what some of these guys have gone through. You know, Freddie and Snit, they've been through the dog days of summer with the Braves, and to finally get them to the World Series, I think that's what hits home with me more. It's just, you know, those guys that have stuck with it from day one. And, you know, I've just been very blessed to really, you know, along for the ride, because, you know, I'm so young and young in my career. You know, this doesn't happen every day.
To get over the Dodgers finally, does that feel a little bit sweeter now that you guys could finally get past them and get to the World Series?
No doubt. You know, going into those first two home games here were huge. And I kind of told myself, if we can just get, you know, that stadium in Dodger Stadium is different. Those fans are different. You know, it's a really good ball club, and I told myself, if we get one and take this thing back home, I liked our chances, and this crowd was unbelievable tonight.
Last question, what can you say about the NLCS MVP, Eddie Rosario?
Shoot, you could talk all night. He come up in every big moment and did extra. I mean, you know, those times he came up and you needed a single, he hit a homer. You know, it just, you can't say enough about him. He's very quiet and just goes about his business. And, you know, like I said, I'm super pumped for him, and I'm glad he's on our team.
Congratulations. Oh my gosh, Austin Riley, he's grown so much in his career, honestly, and he's having the best year that he's had since he's been in the big leagues. Now you're looking at a very cute little Braves member pointing to the camera, actually pointing to me right now because I'm off the camera sitting with Blooper. This is Adam Duvall's son. Say wave, say go Braves! Oh, amazing. All the families are out here while the guys are celebrating in the clubhouse. So cool. The families have been through it this year, even last year too. Squirming around trying to get to mom probably, but you guys, it's so much fun. All these babies running around celebrating. It's such a cool moment for the city and especially for these families, Jeff and Caitlin. Now we got a celebration from the little Duval. Back to you guys.
That celebration is so cute, and it's so great to see them all out there, and I love that they're all talking about their teammates and how proud they are of what they've accomplished this season. It's amazing.
It has been an amazing season. Again, we appreciate you joining us tonight, and the Braves now get ready for a trip to the World Series to take on the Houston Astros. The Astros, of course, a long time from their very founding as the Colt 45s in the early 1960s in the National League. So it still takes some we have to sort of retool ourselves to think of the Astros as an American League team, but they are. And in reality, it feels like two National League teams getting together for the NLCS. But it is going to be a lot of fun with all of these sorts of moving parts of this World Series, of the past cheating scandal in Houston to Dusty Baker to Jose Altuve. It is going to be a heck of a World Series. That is the last out as the Braves are the champions of the National League for 2021. It is a sight and a scene we never could have comprehended just a few months ago, but look at it, revel in it, enjoy it, because that is history. That is part of the great Braves history, which will now join the pantheon of other great highlights from teams of the 1990s. But this is the first time they're going back to the World Series since 1999. So it is a moment to savor. And certainly let's hope that they can win it all. We don't want them going there and Not getting.
All of our fingers are crossed.
Having fun and getting the job done.
They're going to get the job done. We
Okay,
believe.
good. We believe. We believe. That's
Thank you
what
so
we believe.
much. Have a great night.